Hello, hello, welcome everybody. Welcome. So we are very close to the end of 2024. It's a couple more weeks, right? A week or two. So interestingly enough, we're going to do a reading, and I'm going to continue with the theme of this isn't so much a pick a pile as in what is this going to tell you, and you pick 3 piles and that's your pile, right? This one is touching more on, I feel, the Earth, the planet, the solar system, the galaxy, and our place in it. That is where my mind was going. So I'm going to do 2 piles again because we went quite deep into it. If I want to do an extra pile, I might, but I think if we do 2 piles, then I can go really deep into the questions. And then instead of like a surface level reading, we can go, flesh it out if need be. These 2 stones wanted to come through today, which is really interesting because I got these while I was in Barcelona last month. So I traveled all the way over to the EU, the Northern Hemisphere, and not just to get these to go on holiday, but these were in like this little antique place. It was outside. It was just like a store that had like a pop-up store and a little market. It was in like a really random place that was very close to the port, and it wasn't a lot of foot traffic, but yeah, it was. I mean, I just got off the boat and walked over, and there we were. So anyway, don't know what they are. I don't think he was using them to necessarily sell. They were just holding down some stuff, and I just asked him, and he was like, "You can have them for like €5, I think, for both of them." And I was like, "That's fine, right?" On holiday, I'd rather this a souvenir than a tea towel or a magnet. So yeah, these will be here to represent some of the messages as well. Egg-shaped stuff was really pulling me in the direction. So these 2 coming up egg-shaped was perfect. There's also something else in his stuff that I should have got as well, but wouldn't have. It wasn't life or death. There was just something else there. I was actually pulled to the tarot cards, and I was like, of course I am, but I wasn't pulled to buy any of them. They were very old tarot cards, mostly in Spanish and Italian. So yeah. Anyway, let's have a look. Grab 2 cards, and then I'll see what the readings are going to be about. I've got a fair idea. I'm also wearing brown shirt and brown pants, and I don't always just go and grab, whatever is to match, but I kind of just was pulling some stuff, and I was like, these 2, this 2's right. So that's why it feels like our place in the universe, our place on Earth. It's very much about our place, humanity's place. Okay, so reading 1. And we'll have a look at reading 2. Yeah, I think this one. Also listening to a radio station on YouTube called Coffee Shop. It's just a 24/7 chill vibe, low vibe. Not low vibe, but just like relaxing vibrational kind of tunes. Good for like, if you're studying or just wanting to relax, right? So while you can't hear it, that's the energy that I'll be bringing through. Okay, so pile number 1. Your card is Ascended Master Serapis Bay and Clear Calcite with Karmic Grace. Interesting, a Egyptian, right? Ascended Master's coming through with this card. I say that just because I was on the rods yesterday with the community day on Twitch, and Hathor came through on the rods, which I don't really connect with Egyptian goddesses often. However, if they come through, I'm not going to turn them down if they want to shed some light and help people. All right, so this is Karmic Grace. All right, and for pile 2, your reading is going to be based on the goddess Tara and the Tibetan quartz, her eye ever open. All right, so I'm just going to take a minute and see what's really calling to each reading. Ones that I kind of had in my mind are shifting. So I want to just, do the honors of this reading and take some time to really connect with the cards, and then I'll come back and let you know what reading each card is. Interesting. I was looking up some information on Serapis Bay, and there's a lot there in regards to being an ascended master from, the kind of like stories or mythology or whatever you want to believe in with Atlantis. There's also some talks around like Egypt and bringing the Ascension Flame. Not too sure what the Ascension Flame is exactly, but it feels like, something to help progress a civilization or people. And there's many other stories. With Karmic Grace, this was interesting. This is really going to be, especially with this crystal or this rock, this feels like marble, or it looks like marble to me, which I kind of like, right? Because we use marble without too much thought, but we love it in kitchens and stone tops and stuff like that because of the pattern, I'm assuming, and also the strength of what it can handle. So this is coming through with like a message of this is like a humanity reading, what's going to happen or where we're headed at this time. This is not so much the collective of like consciousness of the planet, with the planet involved, the trees, the plants, the birds. This is about us as human beings. Whether you identify as a starseed or not, right now you're apart, or you're entangled in the human experience. So we're really going to pull it into something earthy, and I like that it's marble, because when I was in Italy as well, you could see the mountains in the background where they were cut, and like it almost looks like jigsaw pieces. And the reason why is that they're cutting this mountain range down, because it's all being brought into the forefront where we saw the manufacturing plants of, like, not really manufacturing, but stone cutters, I guess. And then where it gets, put into like places and then shipped off around the world and becomes someone's countertop or whatever else you decide to build with it. So we're going to talk about humanity. There might be some stuff around where we've come from to what we're going through, especially with this karmic grace. This is about acceptance. So I'll have a look at that one. I won't try to get into it too much now, but I think that's going to be an interesting one. And for the second pile, we've got Goddess Tara, Tibetan quartz, her eyes ever open. All I was seeing was looking up and out. So this one is going to be yoinking ourselves out of the collective, so to speak, and what is going to happen in regards to the cosmos, maybe even extraterrestrial kind of like messages and stuff like that. Not so much like, the messages of like what you need to do as a human race, that kind of thing. I feel like this is more of what's their plan, goals, what is the cosmos trying to tell us, where are we shifting? So this is something that's going to be more happening next year. Maybe the theme of next year. Future stuff always changes, so to definitely take this with a grain of salt. However, it does feel like this is like something that's set to occur. Not so much like how it's going to go through and like specific details, but something more goal orientated, right? You could see this as like, as a human, we're here and we will leave the body at some stage. We're not going to be forever. So whatever happens in between, there's like, death is assured, right, at some point. So this is something that I feel like is set to occur, or like the beginnings are set to occur in 2025. So that would be an interesting one too. Her eyes have opened does touch on the feminine energy as well, which I feel like is a positive in the sense of exploration in the mental, and also exploration in the cosmos and the universe. I don't think we're necessarily going to be traveling it so much, but maybe some more stuff even with science and spirituality. The more science and spirituality mix, I feel like the greater information's coming through. Because if we just focus on spirituality, we can get a whole lot of stuff, right? Because there's so many timelines, so much different stuff. Whereas when we ground it into some of the sciences and they mix together and both open to experiencing or seeing each other's side of the coin, or like facts and figures, and also like just the openness of it all, then we start to like hear each other instead of try to go in separate directions. This feels more cohesive. So not sure what's going to come through in there, but you know, whatever happens, happens. What I'll do is I will leave the timestamps below. You can jump straight to your video. Again, you can always get these cards as well. They're on Kickstarter. I've already got a lot of people interested, which I'm really, really, really happy with. Whether or not it reaches the goal, the cards will be created. So you will be able to get them. I'll be using them today, so check them out. But that's the little sales pitch done. You know, this will be just a campaign that's going to run for 2 months. It's already halfway through almost. And then after that, I don't know when the cards will ever come out again or anything like that. So while I don't love FOMO, right, the fear of missing out, it's just like the facts. I have no idea. Maybe down the track, I'll get in touch with the publisher and they'll be able to create it and then everyone will be able to get them. However, I can't guarantee what's going to happen. So yeah, if you're interested, feel free to check that out, share it, etc. But anyway, I'll leave you to it. Feel free to jump to either pile or both, and I'll see you in the messages. Hello, hello. Welcome to the reading. So this is pile number 1, Ascended Master Serapis Bay, coming through the Clear Calcite Karmic Grace. And the crystal card number, which I didn't say in the original start of this video, is 333. So let's take a look. I'm interested to see what this is going to come through with. This is really a message for us as a collective human race, it really feels like, and where we're going. What are we doing now in this particular point in time? You know, this is around the end of December 2024, so where are we headed to? If you're watching this in the future, this could actually be helpful to see where we were to where you are now, and maybe see how this reads come in, and then maybe even more of what's to come. So I'm going to pull some cards. We've got 3 different oracle decks here, and the tarot, which is a really cool one. It's the Cosmic Tarot. It's an old, originally I think this was printed in 1986, and this is a reprint in 1990 something, 1999, 1992, something like that. So it's a bit of an old one. All right, so let's see what comes through. This one. I grabbed 2 of these actually. To me, from what a lot of astrologers have been saying and what it feels like, 2025 is going to be a big year. I felt like this year was a big year. And then when we look at it, you can see a lot of changes. Some of them are subtle. People are looking more at the skies as well, right? And that's going to be probably in the next reading. There's just like a lot of thought of, you know, our placement in this planet, what we can work with in Mars, or like the idea of some of the people that are moving and wanting to look at Mars, the satellites in the sky, that kind of stuff. It's all very interesting. Oh, and also this was the crystal as well, which looked like to me marble, which is really nice actually, this grey marble. Okie dokie, all cards will be in the description below too if you want to search them. I just put the name, and if you copy and paste it into Google, you'll be able to find it. Okay, so we've got the Manta Ray Mother with Compassionate Kindness. This is really nice. This is where I feel the karmic grace is coming through as a collective. And I felt it before, but I didn't want to go too far into it because I always go too far into the messages when I start reading the cards, right? It just flows through, and I'm not much of a talker. However, when I'm reading, it's all, I'm kind of tuned in, let's say, to whatever is bringing through all the messages that come out of my mouth. However, anyway, getting back to the reading, the Manta Ray Mother with compassionate kindness, this is where the karmic stuff comes up, right? We start to see how people have played their parts in our life, how we've played parts in other people's lives, because we're all in a play essentially on this planet. We're all playing a particular role, and the suits that we're wearing, our bodies, these are really like, tools that we utilize to shift and move and create and etc. So that's how I feel the incarnation is coming through. And when we start to really think of how we've been treated, how we treat others, how we've been holding ourselves back, how we've been pushing ourselves, how we've like let ourselves rest, how we've not let ourselves take a break, right? There's lots of people that work 24/7. They know if they stop, they'll just finish, right? They'll be done because they don't know any other way of living. And sometimes that's fine if that's their soul's path, but where's the balance? And when we start to be caring and kind towards each other, we start to see the benefits of that. I feel like I'm more fulfilled when I'm doing roles of service or giving than I am when I'm just worried about myself. And that doesn't mean to say that I don't do things for myself. You have to find balance. If you're just giving, sometimes that'll be seen as like a doormat, right? When you stop respecting yourself, or you think your value is only based off how other people feel. It's definitely not about that. This is really talking to what is compassion, kindness? What does that really mean to me? How does that really play out into my world? Am I open to letting that in, or do I just want to give it rather than receive it? Am I being open to the flow of energy, the natural organic flow of energy? Okay, interesting. Okay, Serapis Bay coming through with literally Serapis Bay. Right next to each other. I have nothing to say about that. That's really interesting. The Ascension card as well, when I was reading the little story about him, which is, on Google, and that AI thing pops up now. Some of it's helpful, some of it I'm like, I don't know. But it did talk about the Ascension flame passing it from Atlantis, who went through their process. Some people believe they failed, right? And so that's why it got kind of wiped out and then restarted. Potentially that's true, but in another way, it might have been completely successful. It kind of just finished their process or whatever they were going through. So they finished it. Whoever was left, or whatever kind of memory was left behind, was passed down, and then they were said to have been passed on to the Egyptians. So that's kind of where this comes from. There's lots and lots of stories. Some of it was made up by the Greek guy, right? And some of it was and created this kind of like demigod type thing. So many different things, but regardless, that energy is always about improvement. So I feel like we're kind of like passing the torch from 2024 to 2025 of this is the energy or the messages we've got. Now it's your guys' turn. Like, it's kind of like we're passing on old humanity is finishing in some sense, which I feel like that's normal. Every day, it's like the day finishes, the day starts. But like this feels like a collective humanness is finishing, and then we're passing it on to the next people, which is still us. It's just like that's the air of it. It's like a baton race, right? Where you pass the baton or baton or whatever you want to call it to the next person. Like it's their turn, but you're all still in it. You're all one collective group. When you win, or if you lose and win as a group. So this is like, how do we win as a group? This one says, move into your true self, rise above the darkness, the light is here. And that's exactly what it feels like with him. That's where the karmic stuff comes in, the shadow. You need to have light in the shadow. I've been saying this so much that it's almost annoying myself, but we really need to shine light on our darkest stuff so that we can move beyond it. This is not about hurting ourselves or wounding ourselves. This is about no longer just putting a plaster over the sore, starting to get surgery and get it fixed properly, starting to take antibiotics and clear out the wound, right? Or whatever you do. That's the kind of analogy I want to bring through. So crazy though. Serapis Bay coming, what are the odds? You also have Diana with focused intention. This says, think about what you desire. Set your sights high, expect the best possible outcome. This is perfect. We can get stuck into, as a collective, I'm just putting my arm down, we can get really stuck into the collective of the world is so bad, everything is bad, where, that kind of thing. When really, if you want to compare it, which we shouldn't really, we should just focus on how do I improve it? What do I do for myself? What can I do for this pocket of the world? Because if you're worrying about stuff that you can't control or you have no influence over, then you're pulling all your energy into something that is useless, really. It's just not going to change. So where can I put focus and energy into things that are going to be for my highest good? Do I need to focus on helping my children into this, helping myself into that? Is it like improving the house, maybe even tidying and cleaning and getting those curtains finally clean? You know what I mean? Like, this is giving ourselves and empowering ourselves with little things so that these big things that are out there that we have no control over stop sucking away our attention. It's almost like you're worried about people being energy vampires. Think about the news, or think about like the things that you're focused on, that you're worried about happening in the world. People have been worried about the apocalypse happening since pretty much 100 AD, right? When the stories of Jesus and stuff started to be created, and they've been worried about the end times, the end times, the end times. Well, most of those people that were worrying about it didn't happen, right? None of that happened. So why bother worrying about things that you have no control over, or that aren't even in our reality, or that you don't need to waste energy? Because that's the energy vampires. It's not so much a person or a thing, it's you allowing your energy just to be stripped away from you. Okay. We've got the royal baby and the silver spoon. This is inner child, regal, and joy. And also the cherubim. Wow, these are really light cards. You got the cherub and the Metatron's cube with angelic guides, love and harmony. I love the love and harmony with the kindness and compassion with this fierce energy. So this is someone, like, if you wanted to boil this down to a person in these three cards, it's like someone who is kind, compassionate, caring, but is also like determined and not going to be swayed, right? They're not going to be pulled into a direction that's not theirs. They're going to be quite fierce and strong with their resolve. Once they know what that is and why they're doing it. You can be fierce and strong in a resolve that you don't believe in. So make sure you believe in it, or you actually understand why you believe in it. Do you just believe in what you believe because you're told to believe in it? You know, question those things. Is it just because that's what everyone believes in your country or in your family or in your society or in your religion? You know, really question these things. Even if you come back to the same result, you're not hurting anyone by, critical thinking. Overall, interesting coming up next year. It feels like we're going into a place where we can start to heal, maybe even as a collective. And you'll think, well, how can I heal everybody? It's like you're not here to heal everybody else other than yourself. Work on your own issues, help guide individuals to certain things, create content if you want to that's going to be supportive. If you're someone who just wants to talk and talk and talk and talk, that's fine, but make sure you're actually doing as well. The talking, make sure if you're going to talk and talk and talk, record it, right? And put it out there. It may help someone, even if it helps two people, that's two people that are going to be guided in the direction that is for their highest good. So yeah, stop worrying and talking about it and start doing, I guess, is really how it's going to come through. Remember, this is not just an individual message for you. This is a collective message. So it looks like we really are ascending, going into a new space. It's going to be a lot of distractions, a lot of like, oh, people are making me look over here. Like, with that drone thing that's going on at the moment, like, ask yourself, why is that popping up now? Why is the news focusing so heavily on that? What else is happening? What are we not seeing? If they're pushing us to look at like this part of like the country, right? And I don't live in America, but like, let's say they're looking over here. What's happening over here? What's happening behind the scenes? What are we not seeing? It's not saying you don't trust. It's just like, what else is out there? What else is being talked about? If you are going to watch news, I would say turn it off, focus in on self and where you're going and how you can support and help people around you, because that'll exponentially grow and you'll start to really feel the true compassion and kindness, right? That true energy. But as a collective, we're moving into a more loving, caring, compassionate space. Then yeah, we're going to start healing in child. We're going to start helping people instead of judging and criticizing them and putting them away. If the people have diseases or like doing horrible things in the world, at least if we shine a light on it, that frees them to be able to release it. It's going to be their job, and they still get punished for it, right? Or like whatever criminal activities occurred, but at least then instead of judging and building a fear around it, we see it, we recognize it, and we now know that that's no longer happening because it's been caught out. So this feels like almost someone coming through too who might be completely unaware of their point or purpose, just as like someone popping up next year, and they might be doing things, even, you know how sometimes like people do crazy shit and stuff gets like ruined or broken and stuff like that, but at least like then we get to look at it, and then when we look at the rubble, it's like, why was this already like breaking away anyway? This person came through, they were kind of horrible, but at least like they exposed now that something that was well broken before that we didn't realize. So, sometimes even good people or bad people can create a space where we learn something, even if they are completely oblivious to it or we're doing it for selfish needs. You can learn from everything is basically where I'm coming from. So I'm going to keep these upright. We've got the 6 of Wands, interesting, right next to this royal baby. Kind of feels like a winner. Not that the 6 of Wands is always a winner, it's just things being spotlighted and exposed. So even if you're out there in a human collective being an asshole, that's getting exposed, right? That's getting spotlight on it. Sometimes people put themselves into situations they don't even know is actually helpful to other people. They think it's going to give them the, the pride or the boss style energy, but it actually just exposes them to who they are. Maybe that's why, sometimes if you've ever worked in an office, you see, well, how do those people get into those positions? Well, now those people in those positions are getting highlighted and spotlighted for who they really are. And maybe they stay in those positions because they have the money or they own the company or whatever, but it shows people who they truly are. And then people have the power to stay or leave. I'd rather that be open and clear of who someone is, even if they're not someone I want to work with, so I can better inform myself of making a decision that's right for me. So yeah, 6 of Wands coming through. I do like that. Got the Queen of Wands. There is no hiding next year. No one's hiding. There's a lot of lighter energy in the sense of like movement. Fire is expansive, right? It's very, very expansive. The idea of fire is to keep going, and it burns everything in its wake. And so that's why, for people, they will do burnings that will hopefully just burn a certain area, so that if there's a big fire like in Australia, then that area is already burnt, so the fire has to die. But the whole point of fire is to expand. And the Queen of Wands knows who she is. And so live your truth is going to be huge next year. Not this idea of truth or not knowing. It's all within. It's not something that needs to be told to you. This is your year. Humans need to really step up, basically. Interesting message. Wow, more wands. Got the 9 of Wands as well. These lions coming through. This idea of pride as well. It's almost talking like in a sense of like, I feel like pride in the sense of taking pride in who you are and what you do and your truth, right? That's fine. When it's talking about like the biblical pride, it kind of feels like not being able to ask for help, just being too prideful, or like I don't need this or that or the other, or I don't need people. I just need myself. That's kind of like isolating. That's the kind of pride that feels more, I don't know, not that I believe in sins, but like sinful, right? But regardless, it's all getting exposed. There's so much fire coming through. You've got Jupiter here too. You've also got this snake. The 9 of Wands is usually a card of perseverance. It's one is like keep going, push. So, as a collective, we may be seeing a lot of stuff that's not working. If we see, this is just a pretend scenario, but if there's like a person here who's doing dodgy shit and people know about it but kind of ignore it, and then it gets worse and worse and worse, and let's say they start stripping away more of the land or taking more of the money out of the land or like burning down stuff, and it just keeps happening and happening and happening. You can't turn a blind eye forever as a collective, right? We need to be like, well, we either just let this person fuck up the whole planet, and let's just say that's for an example, they probably wouldn't be able to do that, but let's say they just keep doing that and they screw up the whole planet, and we can see it and it's been recorded, but we're just ignoring it because we'd rather live in ignorant bliss because we're not getting targeted yet. Eventually, you know, what do you do? Just wait until there's almost no planet left before you start doing something? It's too late. No, this is a collective getting groups together and starting to like have a say. Like, and when I was in France, there were people protesting because one, it's France, but also it was a pretty fair thing. It was sexual assault and stuff like that against a woman, and it was like a long story, and I won't go too far into it, but it's pretty freaking horrible what happened to her. And so, you know, there's this, like, that was definitely the straw that broke camel's back, where men and women were going through and talking about women's rights and laws and how this kind of thing can be okay to be happening in society. Obviously, I don't believe anyone thinks it's okay, but the fact that it still was happening behind closed doors and maybe still happening with other people, right, is just horrific. So eventually, we shouldn't, as a collective, need to be pushed so much, but we already know, like, if I asked one of you and we had a one-on-one and we were sitting there chit-chatting, we know the people in the world that are doing stuff and getting away with things, and we're just kind of ignoring it. Whether it's a person, a leader, a company, you know, we just know there's companies over here in Australia that are just purely for war. Like, they're just literally selling bullshit for war. So why do we still have war in our collective? Why is that still happening? Is it down to the people, or is it like something else? Is it just leaders' egos? You know, is that kind of thing. We need to, instead of like, you know, people go online and start blaming this country or like saying, oh, this happened in this war or whatever it is, like, right? Like, get over it. It's not the individuals. It's literally very small people at the very top, very like so-called powerful people. And I'm not saying revolutions or anything. Look, I'm not trying to like do anything like that. But we need to find the facts, get the right information, and take back sovereignty over ourselves, our bodies, our country, you know, that kind of thing. Anyway, it's not supposed to be quite a reading around like political stuff or anything like that, but look, if I'm talking to like humanity where we're moving into the next year, it's going to come up with people that we have given as a collective power to, which is generally a president, a prime minister, I don't know, what else do they call them? You know, like a leader of some sort, you know, that kind of thing. And they're there to work for us, right? We put them in so they work for us, not for them to feather their nests and help their building companies that they have like money invested into and stuff and all that BS, right? This is really about looking around in your country and being like, is this the best that these leaders could do? Maybe we need to change the whole entire system. Anyway, don't know how that's going to happen. Remember, don't take this on as an individual, kind of like your job too. Just maybe stop and think about it, because we've kind of shifted from this, which felt individual, into this, which feels more collective. Yeah, bringing balance into this. This is not done by magic, right? If you've got readings from other readers online and they're like, oh, this is changing. Yeah, because you're changing. You're taking the opportunities. You're pushing yourself. You're deciding not to deal with these people and going shift this way, right? Whatever that is. This justice is in your hands, not in whatever just happens and I'll just sit there like, you know, with my finger in my nose. Like, this is like these special people that are coming through, even children now. They deserve, you know, an environment where they can thrive in rather than just need to survive. Interesting reading. Okay, what else do you want to say about this? Eight of Cups, justice, yeah, putting in the work. I mean, I feel like I'm literally saying it and the cards are just coming through to kind of reiterate it. Justice is not magically served by the universe type thing. We're part of the universe, and we also have a say, especially in where the human collective is moving. So, you know, this could come up in positive ways of group of people like starting communal, like feeding places. I know that sometimes in the US, I don't know if this is true because I don't know where the information in the US comes from sometimes, but a person getting like arrested or fined for feeding the homeless or something like that, right? That to me sounds so insane that it, in my head, it can't be true, right? It just can't be real. But look, some of you in the US will probably know better if that's actually true. Those are true stories. To me, it just sounds crazy that people are trying to help give like compassionate love and support, literally here with this manta ray mother coming through, like helping people and then, you know, supporting people, and it's being criticized or judged or like fined, really, like punished for good deeds. To me, that seems absolutely crazy. So yeah, this is like not just focusing in on what's actually people tell me what's right. What do I feel is right for me and others? So yeah, this is the work and the effort you put into it. This is like things blooming. This is really nice because it does feel like collectively like things starting to open up. It's almost like we've been like rose bushes, we're all just kind of stuck with thorns and we haven't opened up our flowers because we're too scared to open up the flowers, because if the flower opens, then the thorns will see and the thorns will like shred us, right? And so we're worried, so we just stay closed. And then we stay closed for so long, then we get to end our lives and be like, I wish I lived. Well, live now. Open your damn flowers. I don't know whose spiciness energy is coming through, but it feels like it's very spicy. I like it. All right. And last card, Nine of Pentacles. Yeah, building a new world. I love that there's 9 nines too, like 9-9. I don't know, it just feels good balance, right? It's like, you know, traditionally she has created her space and oh my God, the flower's blooming. That's so funny. I mean, that's where I saw it, but like, you know, instead of just like that being your work and then you keep focusing on that work, it's evolved where you can put it in the garden now and leave it to thrive and flourish by itself. And, you know, that business or that community group is working. So now you can start to move on to the next phase of your life. This is really about huge progress for some people. Some people might be doing some amazing things next year. If you see something and you're like, I want to get involved in that, go do it. Whether it's like old fashioned, because some stuff that's really old is popping up as being like, wow, these were real inventors back then. We just now rely on whatever we're told, like, here's a cell phone. You do your thing. And, you know, we're like just relying on other things, but because, I mean, let's be honest, if you were sent to a planet with no anything, and it was like Earth, and so you could, you know, had like enough stuff to be able to, let's say, survive, would you be able to recreate or like explain like a cell phone or like the internet or things like that? I wouldn't be able to do any of that stuff, which is why we have to work together. That's why this is a very much so a collective reading, starting to shine light on the positive as well as the stuff that needs to be lit up, that needs to be exposed so it can be cleared and released. If you're a part of a group, right, of people, wouldn't you want to like highlight that this person is doing something wrong so that, or that we don't feel is right, so that we can look at it and start to work through it and start to heal, help, and move on from it, and whatever way that is, whether they go to jail or like whatever, right? Can't be just hoping something will just disappear. This is really about getting involved, making the mark, being heard. So that feels individual, and collective is all of this. So we reap what we sow. We literally do. As a collective, we reap what we sow. If we ignore things that are dodgy, shady, dark, and we hope someone else does it, you know, maybe they won't. Maybe they have they won't. I feel like everything though needs to be done in the light, not behind closed doors. It's kind of like when people create new inventions, and if they try to do it by, you know, hiding and being sneaky about it, sometimes they can just disappear off the face of the planet or end up floating down a river. So this is not about like trying to like go, do it in small bits. This is like really putting it out there and letting everyone be showing it all, showing the truth to everybody. If you want to say who you truly are, then you can do it one by one if that feels more comfortable, but this is more like getting in front of everyone and just saying it. I don't know why it has to be like that. That's going to be case by case for you individually, but that's the energy. This is what the energy is about. It's getting it all out there. I don't know if I have any other questions around this reading. It's quite it's almost like anger that's being transformed into motivation. It's very Aries type energy when it's not the shadow where it's just like the ram that just barges in and doesn't think at all. This is like thinking and then acting. This is more from a smarter point of view or a higher point of view rather than barging in. Okay, I'm going to leave that there though. This is such a big reading. There's so much more, like where we're going as a collective. I thought we were going to touch on more of like wrapping up this year, but this feels like full ball going, head first into this. Still using your brain, but still head first. Like there's still that fire push, and there's your fire. The strength of like the feminine, the strength of being recognized and seen and being noticed. And maybe it's because you make sure that people can see, hear, or notice you. Not doing things behind closed doors, doing it in their face and in front of everybody. Not so much for the intent of shame, but for the intent of clarity with everyone. Good luck, however you take this. We'll see what happens, right? You can only do what you can do. This isn't saying you need to be the leader of the world. This is just to put some light a fire right under your ass, basically, with whatever this is about, whether it's learning a new subject, learning a new language, going to university, exposing things that have been happening that you have been hiding, right? Getting it out there, putting it in a broadcast or something like that, and just sharing your knowledge, your information, your truth. Okay, Serapis Bay coming through twice, crazy. Anyway, thank you so much for letting me read for you today and listening in. After this reading, we'll get into the second reading, and I'll grab some more cards, but thank you so much. Appreciate you all. Check out Kickstarter if you're interested. Otherwise, take care, and I'll see you next time. Hello. Welcome to the reading. All right, so this reading, this is the second pile. This one is Goddess Tara, the Tibetan quartz, her eyes ever open, or her eye, just one. And this is crystal number 888. So very nice. This reading is really focusing in on the cosmos. I'm still in two minds whether this is a reading about what message the cosmos have for us or anything that's going to happen in the future. I'm feeling it's more drawn to that, the second. What's going to happen in the future, or what do we need to be prepared for, or focus in on in regards to what's coming up on the planet, in regards to what's either coming down or new information that's going to be lit up that'll help us with regards to new technologies, potentially in space, or new discoveries. There's been so many new discoveries with stuff that's happened in space, right? Even here, I think there was something came around which ended up getting slightly debunked. I'm not sure of all the information, but it was dark oxygen in the seas. And so they were talking about how oxygen was getting created instead of from plants, but from minerals and stuff like that, which I think has been debunked though, or hasn't been really debunked. They just haven't got all the details and people have proven it incorrect. But regardless, the fact that there's the idea and talking about that is really interesting. And then when we're going into space, right, they've now found the crater where the comet hit that hit the dinosaurs when I was a kid. They were still wondering if it was volcanoes, and now it's pretty clear it was a meteorite, a comet, whatever they call them, I don't know. But it was a freaking rock that smacked into the planet. So now they've found it. the original creator, because everything above it was fossilized from mammals and stuff that was after the dinosaurs, and everything below it was before. So kind of makes it pretty easy to distinguish where this sediment layer has kind of what's come from it and where how it's all like how it's got there, right, basically. All right, so even though that's not exactly what this reading's about, the Hawaii Ever Open, this is about seeing like maybe even potentially some people getting encounters with extraterrestrials, or maybe really more information coming out from the government, different governments around the world with like sightings and stuff like that, being very transparent with it. And even if they're not really being transparent, it's just like something like, you know, how something shiny you throw to a crow so it kind of stops annoying you. Could be something like that as well, but regardless, it's information. Whether there's like, oh yeah, we actually had this technology to build these ships a long time ago, and now we've actually been prototyping these for the last, I don't know, 50 years or something like that, right? It's just still information regardless, even if we don't find out it's extraterrestrial, it's just humans. Still interesting, like why is this being hidden, you know, all that kind of stuff. So we're going kind of down a bit of a rabbit hole with this one, but come along. I don't know how it's going to play out, so we'll have a look. I've got the heart chakra gateway, love, capacity, and expansion. This is very cool. This feels more spiritual in a sense as well. The expansion, though, kind of like when a country wants, you know, like the Roman Empire, right? Expand, 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 crash. We can see expansive countries in our world now with like Russia expand, China expand, right? They've taken certain countries and or like, I don't know, territories and things like that, whatever you want to call it, from the past that may have been part of them or not. And it's kind of like that. It's like this is going to be an expansive view, not so much in the negative sense of war or just governance taking over. This just feels like we're going to have an eye that's going to be literally open to more that's out there. I don't know how that's going to look. We'll see if the cards tell us. If they don't, well, I'll give you what I think about it, but I feel like if they do, we'll go with that. So I'm not going to try to influence the readings. I want it to come through purely. So let's see. This feels good though. If it's opening up our heart chakra to a capacity to be more loving, compassionate, and caring, which kind of does touch into the last reading. If you watch that one, then this is a very positive movement, shift forward. Oh, interesting. This is interesting. Some stuff might actually be dug up. I was talking about dark oxygen, right? The stuff from when they were talking about the oceans. This could be like going back into the history, almost changing history. The Kabbalah, the Tree of Life, we've got integration, life lessons, and emanations. And you can see a majority of it here. They did kind of a poor job with these cards, just because I think the images were actually bigger and they kind of just, I don't know, maybe they didn't leave any space for bleed, but a lot of it gets cut off in these cards, which is kind of annoying because like you can't even see here down here. Still cool cards. Again, I'll put them in the description. These are the Mystic Martian cards made by kind of a wacky character, but definitely an interesting one. Got Talcetans coming through with resilient, bold, and sassy. Interesting. Do love a little bit of sass coming through. Not getting too much from this of why the Talcetans will come through. I don't know this race, right, or assumed race that's out there, but it's a very interesting card. Again, we've got like the symbolism of these UFO type things, whether they are extraterrestrial or we find out they're human. Be interesting, right? Well, let's just say it's extraterrestrial. That goes on an interesting path. Well, let's say it's human. Why has that been hidden? Who's been owning it? Why have we got this technology that we're not utilizing in this world? What, you know, it would blow up a whole lot of questions. Got recess, rest, and recovery. Interesting. It's an interesting character in this particular game too on this card. Like his name is Tukus, and Tukus is part of like a group, and he kind of fears telling the group that he no longer wants to be a part of the group because he wants to go on his own journey, right? He wants to take his own path. So this rest and recovery, kind of this recess, is kind of like that contemplation. Like, what do we do with this information that's coming through next year? What do we do if we do see this or that, and there's like evidential proof, like we can't deny it. Like if it just pops out, I know that if a UFO, let's say for example, just popped out and landed on the front door of the White House, that still some people would say it's fake news, right? And maybe even some people that were there and saw it would be like, it's fake news. You never know. Some people are just so clear that they don't believe in anything anymore. But it would be like, you know, a lot of people would see it like, how can you deny it? What do we do? This eye ever open is literally seeing clarity and truth, because maybe something was faked. Who knows? If they say look over there, why don't we look everywhere, right? Keep that eye on the truth and scrutinize the information, especially when it comes from like big corporations, big government stuff like that. Why are we allowed to see this now and focus here when all this other stuff could be happening behind the scenes? So I think it's just keep vigilant with what's happening. The rest of the message is like, there's time to digest this information. We've got nourishment, every monster's favorite fruit. I do like this. It feels like something's coming through that's going to assist. Now, whether this is technology, I'm not trying to keep it so much into extraterrestrials. It's just like keeps going in that space. So I'm like, well, I can't stop it, right? I need to flow with it, go with it. And it's interesting. It does feel like something's coming through, whatever it is. Even if it's just all human, it's like some new technology or something that maybe makes a huge shift. I don't know what that would look like, but what do we rely on today? We rely on farmers to make sure we've got the food. So maybe there's something where we could, I don't know, some magic friggin' crap that we just use, and all these plants like pop up really easy. So we're way more in tune with growing our own food. Maybe it's not exactly like some magic thing, but it's like, oh, there's this like at-home kit that you can buy, and it's affordable for everyone. And it actually produces way more food than, you know, than we can eat, and we no longer need to rely on supermarkets, which are making huge amounts of money, right? So yeah, that's where it's kind of feeling like that kind of stuff. What else do we rely on? Oil, literally fossilized trees and plants that have been in the earth for so long. It's like oil. We rely so heavily on that, and it's very destructive to the environment, whether it's leaking out in, you know, offshore platforms, or we're just burning it up every day, plastic, that kind of thing. Maybe something else comes through that's really good with that. I've seen some of the inventions from this year that have been really promising. Microplastics has been an issue. You can kind of put this, they're inventing some stuff where it's like liquid and it attracts the microplastics, and then you can pull it all out with a magnet, because the liquidy metal stuff is kind of like oil, and let's say the oil is magnetic, and it just attaches to microplastics, and then you can pull it out. So with magnets, don't know how that would work exactly when we're talking about oceans or stuff, but it would help in smaller environments at least, you know. And if the technology gets better and bigger and more affordable, then, you know, maybe there's other options. So there's lots of things out there that are really coming through that people don't even know about, because what's been the focus this year? Politics, really, or whatever political rubbish is going on, wars, and whatever the news pretty much will produce. Where's all the other stuff that's happening as well? So it's interesting. This is a message from above, because it feels very earthly. We've got the, oh, that's interesting with what I just said. This is the Priestess of Earth Guardian. So this is like the Pentacle style card, and this is like the Queen of Pentacles, right? Having enough. And it's in this form of, which is interesting, yin and yang type push and pull, these fish, but a waterfall. And so it feels like with waterfalls, the water from above comes down to the people below. And it feels like with what I was just saying, what is interesting, this reading is about the cosmos, but really we're focused in on the earth. It's like it's a flow-on effect, right? Because it's like whatever information they pop up here, it's coming down to us. So whatever, like, here's a box. You know how on what's that, Hunger Games, when people really care about the particular, even though that the whole system was kind of stupid and psychotic, they would put parcels in to go out and help people, right? To save the people that they liked or whatever. It kind of feels like that. They're sending through information and messages, whether this is source, God, extraterrestrials, I don't know, or just like the collective conscious is starting to upgrade, and now we can view things even in more of a help save the planet type mentality. It feels like that's where this is coming through with the waterfall. It's like it's coming down into us, which is going to nourish us. But if someone's giving us a resource that we don't know how to use, then we don't know how to use it. So it needs to go to the right people. The resources need to go to the right places where it's going to be shared and help humanity, rather than commercialized and monetized and just turns into something that sustains without improvement, right? It just kind of keeps the status quo rather than really helps. So yeah, I don't know how that's going to play out, but it feels really interesting. Very lovely card. The heart card. This is the 10 of portals, also known as the 10 of cups. Really beautiful here. This energy is really showing up with the heart chakra, right? It's like from here to here. It's like from above comes down, and while we're probably the little sassy humans that we are, it's here to feed us, right? The nourishment, every monster's favorite fruit. It's here to support us. So it does feel like maybe that if there's not a direct, like, oh, there's an alien type thing, or ET, extraterrestrial, whatever you want to call it, it might be like this we're making leaps and bounds in certain technologies, which imagine if that's really heart focused and heart centered instead of how much money can I make from this. I know in Texas, when I think it was like insulin or something, this was a long time ago, American was about $700, which is absolutely insane because it's like life-saving. And so a particular governor went in who ended up changing it so that it was capped at $50, which is far more affordable than $700, right? And I think that's shifted and changed. But that's the whole point. Like, why do we just accept that this pill that could be developed anywhere but isn't because it's copyright or there's like some kind of infringement? What is it? Patent. Like, it's insane the amount of patent things that are out there that, I mean, you want like the people inventors to be paid and gain from it. But if it's like life and death, is that really the mentality that we want to get into? It's like, yeah, well, too bad then, right? Like, do we want that to be our mentality? I don't. So hopefully this new stuff coming through is going to be actually something that's going to help save people and save whatever is getting wrecked and destroyed out there on this planet. Because overall it does feel like it'll help us collectively more so. You've got the Muse, which is tickled by the free spirit. I love that. This could be past technology as well. The Kabbalah coming through, this integration, life lessons, emanation. Doesn't really say it, but it just feels like it could be past technology coming through that we... when I say past technology, it could even be something from like the 1800s. I don't mean we dig up a crystal and it's like a magic crystal, which, you know, makes things fly. But it could be like an old technology that we utilized, or like maybe even like Leonardo da Vinci's like papers or something that he's created that we can see the benefit, or like, you know, see where his head was at, and now we're in a future where we've got more opportunity to create and do different things that maybe we can utilize that, right? So that's kind of interesting. This is definitely like claiming power back to ourselves individually and giving ourselves space to grow. So next year it could be a huge amount of growth. I think if we pick the right path for ourselves individually and collectively, whatever that looks like, I don't know what the right path is, right? Maybe for one person this path is right, for this one's this path. So you could see like timeline shifts for people that completely change, and it's because they've chosen something different. And in this timeline, they're just completely different, and that's okay, right? Wherever your higher aspect or soul's focus in will pull you into the life that you want or need to flow with, basically. All right, last card is the Initiate of Light Codes. This is action beyond ordinary. I really like that. This is where I'm thinking whatever's coming through from above, whether that's God, Spirit, ET, whatever, because it could be 3D, it could be like higher realm stuff, like technology that's like spiritual technology, right? You can see that kind of like with quantum entanglement, maybe there's like spiritual and the sciences kind of mix in more and start to like work together instead of be bitches about each other, right? It's starting to like heal. Because this is action beyond the ordinary. That's, you know, the Initiative of Light Codes is very similar to the Page of Wands, and part of the Page of Wands, or one aspect of that particular meaning or theme in that card, is picking up an old project and imagining it in a new way, which does feel like what I was talking about before with picking up something from the past and breathing new life into it. Finding something that was in the past that they used to use that we no longer do, and then seeing how that can work with the technology and things that we have for the betterment, hopefully, of people, right? It's literally depending on those kind of people. I'm no scientist or anything like that, so if anything came through to me, I wouldn't know what the fuck to do with it. I would just like, I have no idea. But it's like a new world for us. This Tickled by the Free Spirit is very, very cool. And I love that the Ten of Portals is here, because it's just like opens us up to many different possibilities. And if we choose with our hearts, that is where we're going to flow with. If we choose with our criticism, like, oh my God, look what those people were doing. Judge, 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 right? If we start to go down that path, well, good luck to you. Like, good luck to those people. Let them do it. Don't judge them, because you're just buying into their drama. Even if you're like not talking to them right, you're still criticizing and judging them. It just keeps the drama perpetually cycling. Oh, there's a big dog coming past the house. Anyway, I like that. Dogs always represent like loyalty, right? That kind of energy in their light. Anyway, there's a border collie too, so they're always like, the friendly kind of like vibe of dogs. Yeah. So whatever comes through, keep in your resolve. You can fall into like, there's nothing wrong with being sassy, right? But when it's like cutting or hurtful, like be aware of your intentions. Some of the information that comes through could be triggering. I have no idea why, but you gotta be true to who you are. Take the information that comes through that actually feeds your soul. Tune into information that really is helpful to you, or that like brightens your day, or even just sparks imagination, because whatever's coming through is going to be new. It doesn't feel like, how, I mean, I don't think we could imagine it. I couldn't have imagined the AI being what it is now. It's just moved so quickly. So maybe there's advancements with that. Everyone's complaining about it because we're thinking about it from fear, right? We're like not trusting the higher ups or like anything in that way, like, but really trust in yourself with the information that's coming through. Is it actually fearful? Is it just drama that I'm trying to do? Or is it just like, because I've watched a TV or a movie show, Hollywood don't know shit about this kind of stuff. They're just literally making entertainment, right? So think about things, let it sit, let it like ruminate within you, and how do you utilize the information you've got to improve your life, people around you, and yeah, I'm going to leave that there. Don't know if there's much else. This was kind of an odd reading, and so was the last one, but This one was less I'm on a mission type thing to tell you all the stuff. Like the last one was very like fiery. This one is definitely more chill, but mysterious, right? I do want to ask one more question. I just want to get like maybe one or two more cards. So if it's in regards to an improvement in technology, how will this technology improve the planet? Okay. Okay, so this technology really does feel like it's going to be more internal. So people's perceptions, psychic abilities, if you want to call them that. But I mean, you know, we can all sense certain things. Doesn't feel like it's something special outside of any, like that only a group of people have. This is like everybody kind of tuning into their inner self. Whether this is improvements through overcoming fears, overcoming dramas, dealing with our shadows, dealing with like our purpose and no longer being fearful of losing or leaving a job because, oh, but I've been there 8 years, I only need to be there another 2, then I'll get like this thing which will mean that I have a little bit more holiday. Like, you know, it drives me insane. It's like, why would you stay in a company you don't like the people, don't like the work for 2 years just to get an extra 4 weeks off? It's kind of like someone going, oh, hey, I have, I need $1,000 from you. And so they take your $1,000 and then they give you 20 afterwards and say, like, if you just stay here standing still, I'll give you $20. But they've already taken $1,000 from you. Do you just like, where's the math in that? Anyway, drives me batty sometimes when people think like that, because it's like, what you wouldn't do that with money. You wouldn't give someone $1,000 so they can give you like $20 or even $200, right? And then that's it. And it's like, cool, you stayed there for 6 months. Now here's your, you know, $20. And you're like, yes, thank you. And then you leave. It's like, no. Why? You could just leave and go find something else now, or at least put in some effort to look for the next month than just to accept like, oh yeah, I'll stay over 2 years. It just doesn't make logical sense to me. That's where this is kind of coming through. It's like this, oh, why am I just doing these things? So maybe this isn't exactly like technology as we know it, a physical piece of equipment that we just utilize in our life, or a pill or a fucking injection or something like that, right? Yeah, universe, everything is nothing. We've got this blank space with the inner guide and the universe card coming through. So this does feel like the technology wise is going to be more of our connection with our God self, maybe even recognizing our own divinity within ourselves, which everyone keeps talking about and everyone keeps living, but they're also kind of not living right. Certain people are like, yeah, I get it, I understand it, but I just don't really understand how that happens to me, or my life's different, so I can't do that, or I can't do this. And so if we see it, we believe it, we start to shift up, and then the ego goes, no, 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 no. This feels like that kind of energy of not the no, no, no part, but just the like lifting ourselves up, saving ourselves, realizing that we're not waiting for a savior, right? We are the saviors, essentially, of this planet and this world. So I think that's it. Don't mean to disrespect the cards by throwing them, but I just wanted to end that one. Cool reading. Hopefully this helps you and recognizes what's open and available next year for you to really look into. Look, you don't have to change anything about yourself or in your life. Take this as like information, FYI, and that's it. If you want to, or really sit with this and think about how you can start to recognize or like be open to whatever's to come through spiritually, or you know, even quantum physically, if you want to take it in the science place, have a look at that. Okay, I'm going to leave that there. I just want to say Merry Christmas to everyone that celebrates it. Have a good New Year's, have a good holiday season. Look after yourself, be kind to each other, and yeah, take care of yourself. All right. Goodbye.